What's going on, everybody? We're back with another video. I hope y'all have been enjoying this series. I know I have. It's been a blast. I've had tons of fun doing it. All the research behind the teams to make sure I'm giving you credible information as far as my breakdowns of the teams. Obviously, predictions are predictions. They're not going to be credible, so to say, but they're going to be logical at least. So, like I said, it's been a ton of fun for me. I hope y'all have been enjoying watching along. Today we got the Houston Rockets. Got this little Houston Rockets shooting shirt on from early 2000s. One of my favorite pieces that I have in my small clothing collection here. But I just think it's super cool. Got the little like nostalgic like baby blue kind of for the Houston Rockets. Just a really cool piece in my opinion. So had to rock it for the Houston Rockets video. So of course. And with that said, we're going to get started. And you got to start with this team with the number 2 overall pick in this draft class, Jalen Green. Dude is a absolute dominant scorer. He's shown that time and time again. He knows how to get the ball in the hoop. And he's got a huge chip on his shoulder. He really thought that he should have been first overall pick in the draft, but that was Cade Cunningham. And I believe that might be a little bit due to size. Cade Cunningham's one of these bigger guards. He's about 6'8". Jalen Green's 6'6". And I thought he was shorter than that. Just looking at him play against other dudes, I thought he was a little bit shorter than that. I thought he was maybe 6'4" or so. But either way, he's smaller than Cade. Cade's got that big guard frame. Jalen's just a quick, not really smaller dude. I want to say smaller, but smaller than Cade, but he's not really that small. 6'6". That's a shooting guard size in the league. So he's got that going for him for sure. He's definitely got that height. He just needs to fill out that frame a little bit more. And he's just absolute scorer, dominant scorer. And we're gonna see that right off the bat with him. Played with the G League Ignite last year. So he's got that experience against some former NBA players that play in the G League now, that are trying to get back into the league. And that was just kind of his choice instead of going to college. And I honestly think that's a great choice. And I think we're going to see more and more players follow suit with that as the years go on. So Jalen Green's going to be a super fun dude to watch right off the bat. And he's really going to have to be the focal piece of this franchise as they build. And I don't think that's going to be a problem. Obviously, they're going to have him for about 4 years off his rookie deal. And the cap space that it looks like they're going to be able to give him his max if he deserves it when that 4 years is up. But you never know what's going to happen in that time. Another rookie they got coming in is Alperen Şengün, I believe is how you pronounce the name. I'm sorry if I botched it. I know I got the last name right. I just don't know about the first. But this dude's an interesting build. He's 6'9" forward. He's really skinny, but he can play everywhere on the floor that you need him to. He can shoot the ball a little bit. He's a solid shot blocker so far from what we've seen. We haven't gotten to see a ton of him, but from what we have seen, he's a solid shot blocker, solid defender. He can score the ball. And I think he's going to be one of the more underrated rookies of this draft class. Obviously going to be overshadowed a little bit by Jalen Green, who's on the same team and went number 2 overall, but Şengün went a little bit later in the draft. But I think he's going to have himself a solid career. And I definitely think with the way that things are in Houston, he's going to be able to have himself a solid rookie year because there's not too many players there to really take away from his time. Especially as a forward. They've got Christian Wood, who we'll talk about in a minute, and they've got Kenyon Martin Jr., and that's really about it at the forward position. So there should be some time there for him to grab, and we'll see what he does with it. Another rookie they got, Josh Christopher, former high school teammate of Jalen Green, so they were happy to get that connection back together. So hopefully they'll bring that chemistry to the league and be able to play off one another pretty well. I don't know too much about Josh Christopher, but I know that they seemed excited to be reunited. Him and Jalen Green did. So as I said, we get to Christian Wood in a minute. We are here now. Christian Wood's got to be one of my favorite players in the league. I honestly probably put him in my top 5. But yeah, Christian Wood's he's a fun player to watch in my opinion. He's a good defender. He's a good 3-level scorer. He can shoot the 3 ball. He can get the mid range. He can get shots at the basket. He's just a fun player to watch, and knowing his story just makes it that much better. Dude went undrafted. His girlfriend at the time broke up with him. Dude was literally in shambles pretty much, but he's just kept his head down. He's grinded, and he's gotten to the point where if he didn't get injured last season, I think he would have been most improved player over Julius Randle, just because he was that good, and he just keeps taking strides every year that he plays. So I'm hoping we get to see a full season out of Christian Wood this year, and I'm excited to see what he can do if he stays healthy. Another guy that I mentioned was Kenyon Martin Jr. He's another young guy on this roster, but he's a small forward, like small forward, not a small forward in the position. He usually runs his time at power forward, maybe a little bit of small forward, but it's really a positionless league at this point. You can't really put those titles on there. You might be able to put 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, but you can't really say point guard, shooting guard, small forward anymore. Just because so many of these guys are positionless players where they can play the 1 through the 4, they can play the 2 through the 4, or play 3 through 5, or whatever, you know. But Kenyon Martin Jr., 6'6", forward. He had himself a solid season last year, so he's got himself a year of experience under his belt. He'll be able to come into this season with a little more confidence. And that goes for all the players that played with this team last year. They really just kind of got to play their games without any real consequences, just because nobody expected anything. Nobody expected anything from this team, and they were just kind of heading down south to start with. Like, it looks like they were going for that first overall pick right off the bat last season, pretty much. Player you got to talk about with this team right now is John Wall. He's old in basketball terms. I'd almost say washed at this point. I try not to use that word very much, but I think John Wall does fit into that category now at this point. And the dude's got a $40 million contract. Obviously, he loves that, but Houston does not. I guess they thought that he might be able to turn the clock back, and he certainly did not. But now they've mutually agreed to try and trade him. I don't see a team wanting to trade for a guy with that contract, but we'll see what happens. I'm sure Houston's going to have to pair multiple first-round picks with it, or pair a first-round pick and a young player that has some promise. Don't know who that might be, but if a John Wall trade's going to get done, there's going to have to be some incentives to take on that contract, just because it's not a pretty one. Another player I really love on this roster, almost forgot. I don't know how, but almost forgot. Kevin Porter Jr. Love this dude since he came into the league. But he was with the Cavaliers, had some attitude issues, and I really wanted the Celtics to trade for him when his price was low, but they did not pull the trigger on that. And Houston ends up grabbing him and letting him just play his game down there in Houston. And the dude just started balling out. Kevin Porter Jr. is another one of those guys that's just really a certified bucket getter. He's really fun to watch on the court. Super athletic player, plays with a lot of confidence, plays with some attitude, and the way that he does it, I love to see it. So he's been a really fun one to watch, and he will continue to be a fun one to watch. It looks like Houston's really locking in on having him as their point guard of the future. So they'll roll out some kind of lineup that looks like a Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green. Not really too sure on the small forward position. Maybe Jayshawn Tate, who had a solid rookie year last year. And then like Kenyon Martin Jr., Christian Wood to finish out the lineup, I think. I know Christian Wood's a lock for it. I don't know who's really fitting in at that 3 and 4 position though. So we'll figure out there, but the guard play is going to be super fun to watch, especially on offense for this team. And for my season predictions for them, I believe this is about a 25 to 30 win team. Nothing crazy, but it will be an improvement from last year. They were only a 17 win team. So I think they are most definitely improved, especially if Christian Wood stays healthy. That's going to be a huge thing for them. And that'll be a big key in getting wins. But I still think they finished towards the bottom of that Western Conference. Obviously, 25, 30 wins isn't going to do you much good in the NBA now, especially out in the West. But bottom 3 team in the conference probably, and they'll be looking for another top 10 pick to put into that lineup, and we'll see what they do with that. But don't have super high expectations for this team, but I do think it's going to be fun to watch them develop, and this could be potentially a top like 10 team in the league maybe in a few years. Got to give them some time to develop and everything and see how things go. But yeah, that's what I got for the Houston Rockets. Make sure you leave a like, comment your thoughts on the team, and subscribe if you're new or if you just haven't gotten to it already. And I will catch y'all in the next video. Peace out.